Hi, and welcome to this series on taking learnings from our previous years. You know, New Year's resolutions can be pretty guilt-inducing things, right? Because after 2 weeks, we're feeling bad because we haven't done the things that we wrote down that was such a good idea on the 1st of January. So what I've been doing since 2018, and I just want to pass this on to you as a suggestion maybe, instead of sitting at January the 1st and looking forward and I'm going to do all these things, I've sit in January the 1st and I look back on the previous year and I think, what did I learn? How did I grow? What were the great things that I can take from this year, or the challenging things that I can take from my year past and bring those with me into the year forward? So here we go. We're up to 2020. I hope you enjoy. I hope you find something in here that you can relate to. 2020 was a very different kind of year for me, and actually wasn't it like that for everybody on planet Earth? Physically, I spent more than 7 months back in New Zealand, which was unusual. I live in Cambodia, but that included 43 days of being completely alone, which sounds either deeply peaceful or slightly concerning, depending on your personality type. But for me, it became incredibly important and a pivotal section of my life. 2020 became a year of questions, very short questions that took a very long time to answer. Questions like, who are you, Lord God? And equally so, even harder maybe, who am I? You know, if I had to summarize 2020, they would be with 2 words, and they would be with identity and belonging. 2020 felt less about doing things for God and more about understanding who I am with God. And one of the most important lessons that I learned was that growth is intentional. Nobody drifts to the top of a mountain. There's always another horizon to climb if we truly want to grow. And I also learned the importance of what I call to before through. I need to let God speak to me before he speaks through me. Soups need time to simmer before they become truly delicious. And too often I learn something and then immediately I want to give it out. I want to teach it. But this year God taught me to let things sit, to go deeper. Not everything needs to be instantly turned into a ministry context. Another lesson that I learned in 2020 was this: there is always a thing beneath the thing. Beneath many of my reactions and my decisions, I discovered some deep desires that were within me to be known, to belong, to be valued and accepted. And through that process, God kept reminding me that my worth comes from him. I am fully known by him. I belong to him. I cannot get those desires met in other people. One more phrase that stayed with me throughout 2020 was this: the truth will set you free. It doesn't say what is true will set you free. There are many things that feel true because of our experiences, but they are not necessarily truth. God often needs to separate these things if we're going to move forward. I also learned to focus on being filled rather than being fixed. Because when I focus on fixing myself, I become exhausted. But when I focus on being filled with God, ironically, he quietly changes those things that I was trying to fix, but I could never change on my own. And perhaps this is where this year has led me. A deeper confidence that I am a child of God. I am called and I am chosen and I am loved. Not because I perform well, not because I achieve enough, but because he says so. And I think that might actually be what belonging is all about. 2020, lots of great lessons from 2020.